I'm here at Salt River Field with Tony DeMarco from the MSNBC Sports. He's their lead baseball writer and been doing it for forever. And
more years than I'd like to admit. Yes.
Quite accomplished. And so what we just got done watching the wrap up here of the Angels and the Diamondbacks today, and the 3-0 is the score here in the bottom of the ninth, and the Angels pitching has really limited the Diamondbacks hitting, at least from what I've seen again, from that standpoint. So what have you seen? I mean, the Diamondbacks, obviously they're the division champs from a year ago. They're favored for the most part, along with the Giants, to be in there again. Their projected win total is actually up to 86.5, which is depending on where you went, it was 84.5 or 85 before spring training began. What do you think about that?
Okay, well, I did a column earlier this spring. I went, and we know that they improved by 29 games in 2011 over 2010. So I went back the last 50 years and looked at all teams that had improved by at least 25 games from one year to the next. And the survey says that in the following year, those teams got worse by an average of 11 games.
Okay,
which would drop the Diamondbacks' win total to 83.
83, okay.
Now that's, and the only team that got better out of those, there was 13 teams that qualified, was the 93 Braves. And if you remember this, the Braves won the pennant in 91, and kind of came out of nowhere.
Okay.
And that started their run. They won 92 games that year. Then the following year, that began their run of 14 consecutive division titles.
Okay.
So that was quite an exception to the rule.
Yeah.
Now, all that said, I really liked what the Diamondbacks did this winter. They added another left-handed power bat in Kubel, which they really needed. They added Saito and Breslow, which deepens up the bullpen. And the trade for Cahill is a really good trade. He definitely makes their rotation better. So they actually probably have a better roster than the one that took the Brewers to the last game of the LDS. So I'm going to say that they may not win the 94 again that they won last year, but I'm going to say they're going to be right around 90, and it's either going to be them or the Giants in that division.
Now, speaking of the Giants, I know you've been following them as well, this spring. What have you seen there that you've liked or didn't like, in terms of what they're trying to do?
Well, I think a lot hinges on Posey, really. They really need his bat. He's not only, obviously, the key defensive player behind the plate, he's also their best hitter. He'll hit third or fourth, him or Sandoval. And that's a key to their offense, obviously. The other thing that they've tried to do, they brought in Melky Cabrera from Kansas City, and they also for Sanchez, and they also traded for Angel Pagan. Those are probably going to be their 1-2 hitters, and they're emphasizing speed. If not stolen bases so much, but certainly better base running, more aggressive base running. And they look to those two guys to steal probably 50 bases at the top of the lineup.
Okay.
Which, the Giants were one of the worst run-producing
Notorious.
teams. How they won 86 games with the amount of runs that they scored was remarkable. It just shows you how good their pitching is. So that's another way to add some runs. Just you add speed element to the lineup. You get Posey back. You also Freddie Sanchez missed a lot of the season. He's another 290 hitter, not much power. And the other thing they need is they need either Huff to bounce back at first base, or move him out and have Brandon Belt be ready to assume the number 5 or 6 spot in that lineup. They'll score more runs.
Yeah.
They can't.
Well, they were last in the National League last year.
They can't get worse.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
And they won 86 games, with little production at all. So they're going to be around 90 wins also.
Okay.
I think they're going to win a few more than last year.
So it's going to come down to, in your opinion, probably Arizona and San Francisco and the NL West.
Right. I think Dodgers, they got a lot of talent. I think they're a year away, though. They need to get this ownership thing settled. And once they do, you're going to see them become a whole nother level of a franchise. They'll be jacking up the payroll. They'll go after the big free agents this winter, and they're going to be a power to contend with.
Okay. Now you're of the opinion we've been talking about earlier during we're watching the game is that the Angels seem to be loaded, and obviously with Albert Pujols now in the lineup, that's going to make a big difference for what they're trying to accomplish. And they got a couple of the guys from an injury standpoint that could really add something to their lineup as well.
Right. Sometimes this isn't rocket science. You add Albert Pujols to team will be better. They won 86 games without him. They're a good team, and they took away their chief rival's ace, C.J. Wilson. They stick him into their rotation, and they're sticking him in their number 4 slot.
That's amazing.
Which tells you, and he's probably better than Santana, who's the 3rd guy. But either way, he's either the 3rd or 4th. That just shows you the depth that they have in there. They have 4 basically elite level starters.
Sure, yeah.
And
So
then the other key to the Angels is Kendrys Morales.
Okay.
2 years ago, he finished 5th in the MVP race, 30-plus homers, 100-plus RBIs, horrible injuries, missed the last year and a half. You stick him as a left-handed, he's a switch hitter, but he's going to get most of his bats left-handed. You stick him behind Albert as the 3 and 4 guys. That's 2 guys who they didn't have last year,
Right.
like in the middle of their lineup, and they were still good enough, again, to win 86 games last year. So I see them winning in the low to mid 90s.
Okay. Now I'm going to put you on the spot. So 92.5 is their number. What do you think?
Tad over.
Okay, tad over.
I see him 93, 94, 95.
Right.
And the same with Texas. Both teams are loaded. The Rangers, they lost CJ. They plug in Darvish, who's as good or better. And they're still going to score a ton of runs. That's not going to change. They have still a really good deep bullpen. There's nothing not to like about the Rangers either. I see them both winning 94, 95, both being in the playoffs. And the other end of that is Seattle and Oakland are still terrible. And the Rangers and Angels are going to pound on them.
No problem. It's like that. Okay. Well, thanks, Tony. Appreciate everything.
My pleasure.
That's great. This is Tony from MSNBSports.com. Make sure you read his column every chance you get about baseball. And this is Doug Upstone reporting for 3dailywinners.com.